When we are someone who has trouble seeing our self-worth and who has some level of self-esteem issue, it is very likely that we are also going to misread and misunderstand the value of the people around us, especially the people we're intimate with also. By this I mean that there's usually a mirroring going on. Um, Usually when we have trouble seeing our own self-worth and we have trouble essentially understanding ourselves and knowing where we stand in the world and sort of where we measure in the world, it's almost like there is an internal ruler or internal standard that's been tilted or twisted or broken. And it is through this lens that we look at the world and look at the people around us and interact with the world around us. And when this lens is twisted in this way, the way we see others and the way we understand others and the way we see the worth and the value of others are also going to be strongly affected by this lens. And this is why when you see somebody who is say anxiously attached or someone who is in some way we say they're needy, it's a terrible word. I don't like using the word needy, but this is being used so much, the word somebody who is just really needs someone and they tend to chase after people. We conclude that people like this have some kind of self-worth and self-esteem issue. They cannot see their own self-worth and they put an overvalue on the people they are chasing after. Or you could be, even if you're anxious attached, or just in general, people who are not securely attached, they either put other people on a pedestal and chase after others and overvalue the people around them, or they can undervalue the people around them and go to the other extreme and dismiss the people who can actually be good to them or who are actually a good generally good and healthy connections in their lives. So this is this mirroring that I'm sort of thinking about today. And so I guess if you're somebody who is who that you have issues with seeing your own value and seeing your own self-worth, you probably need to know, or you need to understand that also if you do know you have this issue, then it's very likely that the way you are looking at the worth and value of the people around you, and especially the people you want to be intimate with, you are intimate with, your lens is very likely is twisted, and you might not be seeing the other person in a more or less clear and appropriate level of their actual value and their actual worth, and where you can actually place them in your life. And I think that is very, very important, for because people who are who have this sort of issue with, and with is essentially self understanding, self image. It is with having a healthy ego, right? And that is very important. We have to first have a healthy ego in order to transcend the ego. If you're somebody who is on a spiritual path and you want to transcend the ego, first step is not just transcending the ego, is you need to heal the ego and have that healthy self first. So before you transcend the ego, we must first establish a healthy ego. And if our ego is really broken, then we should nurture it and establish a healthy ego first, with a healthy and correct self-image and a relatively clear self-understanding of where we stand in the world and how other people place in our lives, and our values to the world and to other people, and other people's value to us. And I just find that because I wasn't this is just coming to me today. This kind of about clarity. When you see yourself clearly, when you understand yourself clearly, then you have a healthy self-esteem, meaning you are not more or less than others. You have a relatively, you're having a clear picture of sort of where you are at when you are placed in the external world, when you are placed in society, when you're placed in relation with others. When you have a healthy self-esteem, you have a relatively clear picture of who you are and who other people are. And it creates a healthy loop of, you have a healthy relationship with yourself, and then you can go on establish healthy experiences and relationship with others. And it is likely when you're very clear with yourself, with your understanding of yourself, that you can see through others very easily, and you can easily see particular people, like particular persons, who has what value in my life. And therefore you can, kind of easily and successfully place other people in your life. And, instead of just, the people who cannot see themselves clearly, unfortunately, because of trauma or whatever happened, not only they cannot see themselves clearly, they also cannot see others clearly, and they tend to either overvalue or undervalue people around them. Then they create, this sort of, it's almost like the way you are seeing the world is kind of it's too much a diversion from reality of how it is. You lack clarity, so the relationship you form with others is essentially ingenuine, because you're essentially forming a kind of illusion. It is a kind of illusory movie or film inside of your head, because you cannot see clearly about what other people are about, what are their true colors, and what are their true values and true worth, in relation to how they should be placed in your life, and whether you actually want them in your life or not. And if they are in your life, what is it that you can mutually benefit off from each other, right? And instead of just going on, because a lot of people sort of, especially the people who have unhealthy attachment patterns, they kind of just go on a whim, like, I have chemistry with this person, or you feel some type of way, feels good with this person. There's something about the other person that I find intriguing, or there's something about a connection, it's magical, whatever. That is this sort of wishy-washy, kind of there is a kind of a wishy-washy sense, like, I click with this person, or I just like their energy and things like this. It is not very clear, and I think that tend to come from a place actually of unresolved trauma, where you are about to trauma bond with the other person, instead of really seeing clearly, what is the value I bring to the table, and what is the value the other person bring to the table, and how we can work together to form a rapport or some kind of connection, and how we can sort of mutually benefit from this connection in our respective lives, right? It might sound a little calculated, but actually that is, I think, the healthiest thing to do is actually to have it clear in your head, and clear in your perspective. Really, what is it that I am wanting, needing, and what is it the other person is wanting and needing? I think it is essential to have that clear picture, instead of going on a whim of just, I have a good sense of this person, because that, I think, very unfortunately, very often creates too much illusion, and very likely you're just coming up with something in your own head, and the other person actually was just almost just a actor or a tool in your own imaginary movie that you want, is like a character you want them to play, instead of really forming a connection, a relationship with the reality of the other person, and having your own reality acknowledged by yourself as well. And I just, in relation to this, I just remembered relation to the topic of clarity, having clarity in relationship and in our decisions, and knowing the worth and values of people. I remember this once, this is a few years ago actually, and I was talking to somebody, and I was saying to this person how I had a kind of a friend, you know, the kind of friend you're not too close, but you're kind of friendly with each other, somebody, and who was going through a really rough time, and this person kept coming to me and wanting to talk about their issues. And at some point, I felt like I just cannot do it anymore. I mean, I feel like this person needs to, you know, talk to a therapist or a professional. I mean, I cannot keep being that support for this person. You know, and I just felt like I have to, unfortunately, I say goodbye to, I think, in some way, or distance myself from this person, because it was just too much for me. And I was talking about this thing with another friend, another person. And I was saying that, you know, I know this is the right decision to make. I know this is the right thing to do for the both of us, right? It's for me to say, no, I can't handle this anymore. I have to distance myself. But at the same time, there's an immense amount of guilt, and I feel very bad about this whole situation, because I want to be there to help this person, and I genuinely want to give my time and energy, but I genuinely cannot. So there's this sort of like, I know I made the right decision, I know this is the right thing to do. At the same time, I feel tremendous amount of guilt, and I feel like some part of me feel like just really bad. And then the other person, I was saying this to the other person, the other person say, you know, if you are truly clear, if you can truly see clearly, and if you're truly self-aware, then whatever decision you make, whether you are to stay or you are to go, your emotion wouldn't be, you know, all over the place, being affected by this all over the place. You would make a rational decision, and you know this is the best thing to do. If you're really, really self-aware and you can really see things clearly, you know, your own emotion wouldn't get so all over the place, or the guilt, or then feeling of anger, and then feeling of, you know, frustration, and all of this. So the other person is telling me, like, if I made a decision, and I say it is the right thing to do, yet my emotion is all over the place, it means that, you know, I still haven't seen things clearly enough of myself and of the other and of the situation. And, you know, like this other person is saying, like, when you can truly see everything clearly, whether you made the decision, everything is a conscious decision. You do something, you don't do something, you engage in something, you don't, whatever, everything is going to be a conscious decision. And because you can see it so clearly, because it is very much conscious, you wouldn't have your emotion be dragged all over the place, and you wouldn't feel in some way also kind of powerless and helpless about the situation. You actually will feel very powerful, because everything you do, it is your choice, or don't do, it is your choice, and it is powerfully your choice, coming from your own free will. You know, you would feel very, just whatever you, just anything you do, you will feel peaceful inside. And I thought that was a really good point about, you know, seeing things clearly, and how much we can see ourselves clearly and the people around us clearly. So yeah, this is relating to what I was saying previously about self-worth and value, and seeing the worth and value, truly seeing the worth and value of others around us, to have that clear standard, clear ruler inside of us, so we can, position ourselves healthily in this world, and know the position of others in our lives in a healthy way. I just thought that is very important, and that's something I want to share for today. That's all.